Wow, so you really did make yourself indispensable.
Yes, put out a fire in an unventilated room by myself on camera, roasted 2 pig brains. I created 160 blood cards. We need someone to pretend to be this kid. Well, I have small feet. I could do this.
So you do a lot of different things, Stuart. You do script, director, like The Dig. I was looking at The Dig. That looks fabulous.
Which one? One or the one
your
on Netflix?
One.
Okay.
Your one, yeah.
You always have to be sure.
Your one looks a bit more like something I could get my teeth into as well.
Yes. We don't have any old ships and archaeology.
Nothing today, got.
Just sadness and darkness.
That's the best kind, you know. If you're going to unearth anything, it might as well be trauma.
Yeah, sure. That should have been the tagline.
Yeah.
That should have used it.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Come to me. I'll sort you out.
I know. If only you were around, like, whatever it was, 6 years
Nothing
ago.
holds a family together like trauma, you know? Absolutely.
Seems to be spoken from a personal place.
Look, I'm from Belfast. Everyone's the same as me. You know, you could throw a stick out the window. We're no different. You can't trauma brag here. There's always someone with a bigger ship.
That's fair.
But what about yourself? So how long have you been working in the industry?
In some shape or form since I was 19, so 21 years.
Oh, very good, very good. So we would see it's not fair that you get that beautiful hair and like we're the same age and I just have to dye mine because it grows out patchy. But we'll not get into that. So 19, what did you start doing whenever you were 19?
My first ever job was on Sunday Sequence for BBC Radio Ulster.
Oh, very good.
I did a piece on Mormons and about the differences between Christianity and Mormonism, but it ended up being, like all things in TV and radio, it ended up being about how many shoes they had and how far they walked every day and all the really pertinent, important points.
Yes, of course, you know, the core tenets of feminism all the way, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do find that. Do you find sometimes in writing that by the time, especially if it's commission, you know, by the time it's finished and it is whatever they need it to be, it's not what you wanted it to be? You know?
That can definitely happen. Like, I think any project is a bit like, you know, you feel like you're pushing a boulder up, sleeved honored, or but if you've got the right people behind you, there's the respect and there's the trust to keep what all brought you to the project originally to the finish line. I've watched things that I've written and thought, oh, it's like they've absolutely killed that. I've watched things and The Dig's a really good example where I'm like, oh, the Andy and Ryan who directed it, Brian Falcon who produced it, they've made this better than it was in the script.
Oh, wow.
So it can go both ways. So it's not...
That's lovely.
Don't despair.
So you were thinking, I'll tell people I did this one, you know? I'll put my name to that.
Yeah, and then The Dig came out on Netflix and everyone thought I'd done something different. I'm not bitter about that, of course.
But they did steal your title, to be fair.
Kind of. So the book The Dig actually existed before us, right. But then we got out before them. But they had Ralph Fiennes and Kerry Mulligan.
Voldemort.
So they kind of beat us in a fairly unfair contest.
Yeah, that's true. I do know a comedian that happened to be called Peter Davidson before the Pete Davidson came out, and he's very bitter about that, you know, that your other man is more famous. But it's lovely that you have these positive experiences as well. I'm sure you've seen it all, you know, in terms of projects going well, projects not going so well, you know. Was it like that from the beginning for you? Were you lucky to fall in with really supportive people, or?
Yes, I suppose. I started off in a company on TV. I started off in a company called Sterling, but this was just after I had done my HND at what's now Belfast Met, and I didn't really have any idea how to get a job. Right. This is long before the paint hall was open, long before kind of Northern Ireland became...
To be fair, nobody really had any idea how to get a job.
And
you get a job if you looked for one.
Yeah, and one of my lecturers was like, make yourself indispensable, phone people up and say you'll work for free for a week and go from there. So I thought to myself, okay, I'll do that. So I went through the yellow pages, which if you know my age, you know what that is.
Oh, you could stand on it. You couldn't even get to the letterbox.
A lot of people, when I talk to Queen's students and things now, they're like, the yellow what? But anyway, it's like Google, except it was like 6 inches thick. So I went through that and I found a company called Sterling and I phoned them and they said, sure, come on in. tomorrow if that works. And I'm like, oh, great. So I head into my first ever kind of TV production company, all the butterflies and things like that. But make yourself indispensable was what I kept thinking about. And so,
Good advice.
yeah, and I went in and we went to a production meeting and I was like, wow, my first ever production meeting. This is so cool. Production meetings are the most boring thing imaginable once you've been in, like one. But they had this problem. They were doing a true crime reconstruction and they had a kid who had been, so in real life, the kid had been strangled and killed and then dumped.
Right.
All very happy stuff.
All joyful
yeah,
stuff.
all joyful. Yeah. So they were like, well, we've got hours. We don't have enough hours to film the kid during the day when he was killed and then the body being discovered.
Right.
So we need someone to pretend to be this kid. And they were like, well, we don't actually need the whole kid.
We've only got one kid to use, and once he's killed, that's it, done. So we may do as he last.
Once his hours expired. Off he goes.
yeah, that's it.
But you didn't actually need the whole kid because his foot was sticking out of a black plastic bag, and that's how a dog walker discovered.
Right.
So I'm thinking, make yourself indispensable. And I look at my feet, and I was kind of like, again, make yourself indispensable. So I'm like, well, I have small feet. I could do this. And everyone in the room, like 20 people, look at me, look at my feet, look at me, look at my feet, and then they go, sure. Yeah. So I went home, I shaved my feet, and then...
Did you really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Commitment to the bit.
The next day, I find myself sitting with my bare feet, covered in black plastic bag, chewing on some fruit pastels to keep the morale high.
It's a good first week's work.
Yeah, first 24 hours work.
Did you get the fruit pastels that were meant for the original child?
No. These were my own sourced fruit pastels.
Fully in character. This is fantastic.
One thing I learned very quickly about any set ever is, bring little things that can cheer you up when the going gets tough, because there could be long old days, and especially on night shoots in Northern Ireland in wintertime.
Very happy times. Yeah. Beautiful Irish weather.
It toughens you up.
So you need a wee sugar hit, don't you? I can't believe that you actually volunteered to be the dead kid's foot.
Child's foot, yeah. And it's now uncredited.
Who didn't even get the credit?
No, my IMDb could have started where it should, which is,
oh my
acting
gosh.
dead child's foot.
Well, you can honestly say that your first job then you didn't put a foot wrong. Oh. See, I said that to Ulster there, didn't I?
You did, but yeah, and also it was just a horrendous joke.
I know. Listen, if you can't make dad jokes as a woman, is the world even free?
That's true.
I absolutely.
I guess the answer to that is no.
What about yourself, though? Are you doing anything at the minute? Are you working on anything at the minute?
Yeah, so to be honest, I'm lucky enough to be a professional writer, so I don't have any other kind of jobs.
That is your job.
And to do that, you just have to spin so many plates. Money kind of trickles in depending on film or television. So honestly, at the minute, it's something like 7 films in active development and about 4 or 5 TV shows in active development.
Right.
Some of them might shoot this year. Some of them might shoot next year. Some of them might never shoot.
Right.
We might be having this conversation 3 years from now. I'll be like, some of them might shoot this year.
Yeah.
So there's no guarantees, but you just kind of keep pushing that boulder.
TV's very like that, isn't it, though, where it's quite slow moving in terms of seeing something get to the screen.
It's all so slow moving. The industry isn't what it used to be in terms of it being a very simple thing of, you got a TV show, you go to Channel 4, you say, I want to make this. And they say, yes. And you go and make it. Now it's like Channel 4 will say, okay, what are the partners that you have? And you have to kind of put all the pieces together like a jigsaw, like the way independent film has been doing for years and years and years.
Right. So maybe that's the indie films.
Different challenges, but...
how do you find it in Belfast now that, all of the sort of, there's a lot more filming going on?
It's night and day. So when I was 19, I... was quite precocious, and I rang the head of BBC Drama at the time in Northern Ireland, a guy called Patrick Spence.
Right.
Patrick produced more recently like Mr. Bates versus the Post Office.
Oh yes, I enjoyed that.
And we went for coffee together, and he said to me, if you want to be a professional writer, you have to move to London. And I remember thinking, that's just not a great thing to tell an 18-year-old, but at the time it was bang on. And now that's just not the case whatsoever. You can exist here. And actually, we're very lucky that we can get money from Northern Ireland and the South, if you've got an Irish passport.
Yeah.
And we're also very, very lucky that
Dual nationality.
We have NI Screen and Screen Ireland. Like if you lived in Liverpool, if you lived in Glasgow, if you lived in Newcastle, anywhere really outside of London, you don't have anywhere near the same support as we have here. And even if you live in London, you're up against, whatever it is, 8 to 9 million people. Whilst
And also a lot more people who can afford to do longer than a week unpaid.
True.
You know.
I will say, yes, after the week, I got six.
I was going to ask
Sorry,
you.
yes, I shouldn't have left on tenterhooks there. After the 1 week, I got 6 weeks
Awesome.
at £100 a week.
Right.
Big bucks.
That is big bucks.
But the problem is, you're only
Back
as good
then.
as your last job.
Right.
So in those 6 weeks, I put out a fire in an unventilated room by myself on camera. I roasted 2 pig brains.
Unventilated.
Yeah.
Okay. I have too many questions.
I created 160 blood cards, which were from the 70s in Ireland. Before they had DNA, you would prick
your
blood
finger and put
onto.
it-
So I did all 160 of those myself. I bought diabetic kits, so I'd prick every single finger.
That is
multiple
really
times.
making yourself indispensable. Giving yourself,
But do you know what the
anemia.
worst part of that was? Because my whole thing was the fake blood doesn't look real. I'll use real blood.
Right.
But then when the real blood dried on the brown cards, it didn't look real. So we ended up using the fake blood after I'd made all 160 cards.
And
the
you're-
director came in and was like, I can't believe I have to tell you this, but we can't use any of these.
My blood, sweat, and tears went
Yeah,
into that
it's just
man.
like-
Wow. So you really did make yourself indispensable.
Yes. I was told once by a woman called Trina Fraser, she was such a great production manager at Hollyoaks that every single time she retired, within 6 months, they begged her to unretire.
Right.
And Trina was like a force of nature in terms of intelligence and abilities. And she said to me, if after about 2 years I was there, she's like, "Shoot, if you're here for more than 5 years, I'll be really disappointed in you."
Really?
Because she was just like, you got to move on.
Yes,
gotta
you need
keep
to
going.
move. Yeah.
So I went from Stirling and I went and then worked at Hollyoaks for a while. And Trina had been just lured back to Hollyoaks again after another disastrous stint without her. And I remember going up to her and saying, I was at Stirling for 5 years and 1 week. I hope you can forgive me.
Oh, right. So, but the 1 week that you did free, technically, that
True,
was 5
true.
years on the head then.
That I had never thought of that. That's very true.
So you can start saying, I took her advice to the letter. Tell me this, what was it like on Hollyoaks? Can I ask, was there more drama on set than off? Or like what was going on?
Well, as a writer, so yes would be the answer to that. But as a writer, you really didn't interact with cast or just the crew in general. You kind of kept it's such a massive machine.
Yeah.
What I will say is that like I was 26 when I was at Hollyoaks and I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for Liverpool as a
Right.
city.
Okay.
It was just
Great city.
too great. And I wasn't ready for the kind of, I wouldn't say like bitchiness of the room, but there's an X amount of episodes a year. If I can get some episodes that you currently have for myself, then I'm going to do that.
Oh, it's a bit cutthroat then.
And if I can, therefore, to do that, I'll make you look stupid at story conference, which is maybe like 40 or 50 people around the table. And people would like go for each other and cut you down. And
Is that what they do? Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
Devil Wears Prada, isn't it? You
Sure.
know?
But it's a lot of money to be made if you can get someone else's episodes off them.
Well, did you get any episodes off anyone? No, you're too nice for that.
Potentially, but also I was too naive and I really didn't like the show. Like I was fired from Hollyoaks.
Were you? Good on you.
Because, well, everyone says that. But when you've just been fired from Hollyoaks,
Oh, no, it's not.
then it's like, oh, I just got sacked by one of the worst shows at British television.
Oh.
It doesn't bode well for the rest of your career.
But does it not say something about maybe it was you were a bit too highbrow?
It says, no, it wasn't about that. I went back and reread the scripts. I was just being lazy and had no passion for the show whatsoever. I was just being a 26-year-old. And
In Liverpool, no less,
Yeah.
where they have bar bars, so you can buy like £1 shots at.
yeah.
Fabulous.
Don't drink with the men if you can't get up with the boys. No, don't drink with the boys if you can't get up with the men.
Oh,
that
I
was
like that.
a rule I did not follow.
Right. Who
but-
wants to get up with men? Do you know what I mean? Just get up with it if you want.
Sure. That's
that's us?
quite the note to leave on.
It has been really lovely speaking to you, Stuart.
too.
I want to ask more questions about the roasted pig brains as well. It's kind of like playing in my head, but
yeah.
I know that we.
It was a character. 2 people were murdered and burned, and we had to do an autopsy scene, and we needed brains for the autopsy scene. So I went to the butcher and got pig brains and roasted them, so we had brains to then cut into.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Indispensable.
That really is. What was the show called? Was it
cracking crime. That was all 4.
I actually want to go back and watch that now. I wonder,
don't know if
is there
I can.
archives? That would be really. I'd be like, I know whose foot that is.
And also, you'd be like we were constantly extras. Like I'm in nearly every single one of those episodes.
Was it a wee have a go one? Was
It
that
was just
involved?
such a small crew, and the budgets were so small. Why hire a bunch of people to be like forensics when you can only see their eyes?
The crew
when you
can
just
do
do it
it.
in the crew, which is why actually in the dig I'm also a forensics officer at one point. But that was more for.
Did you get paid as an extra?
No, barely got paid as a writer.
Right enough. At least you were getting paid.
Yeah.
Well done to you for doing what you love for money.
Thank
That
you.
is fantastic. You're my hero. And it was lovely meeting you,
Yeah,
Stuart.
too. Good luck with everyone else that comes next.
Ah, thank you. Nobody be as good as you, though, Stuart. Roasted pig brains and baby's food,
Yeah,
kid's
that's-
food. Is that really true?
Yeah.
Right, okay. That's fabulous.
I wouldn't make that up. Come on.